Okay, let's get started. Thanks for coming. My name is Purushottam. I work for Yahoo in Hadoop team. I'm a Oozie PMC member and committed. Today we'll discuss about building and managing complex dependencies using Apache Oozie. The agenda of our talk will be, we'll discuss about Oozie at Yahoo, then we'll talk about pipelines, and then SLA and monitoring, and some monitoring limitation in Oozie, and some of the user monitoring system, and how they have built up to solve those monitoring limitations and some of the future work. Let's start with why Oozie. Oozie has a lot of advantages. Just to note down few, it supports out of box for multiple job types. It supports Java action, cell action, DCP, MapReduce. You can do piping, you can do streaming. It supports Pig, it supports Hive, it supports Spark. It is highly scalable. It is highly available with support hot and hot setup, which rolling upgrade, zero downtime. Oozie servers in HA are fully balanced. It can be integrated with Hue. This is a deployment architecture at Yahoo. We have two servers in one cluster, server 1, server 2, which talks to a Hadoop cluster, HBase, HCatalog. We use Oracle for the state management. We use Zookeeper and Curator for log management. Now let's see how does a security piece works in that. When user talk to one of the Oozie server, it goes by the load balancer. In that case, they use HTTPS plus Kerberos authentication. When Oozie talks to other component, like when it talks to itself or Hadoop cluster, HBase, Zookeeper, it use Kerberos authentication. Let's look at the scale. Currently, Oozie is deployed at almost every cluster in at Yahoo. Production, non-production. It's two actually. There are two servers per cluster, and it supports 75 products and 2,000 projects. There are 255 monthly users. If I look at the workflow statistics, we execute around 90K workflow on one cluster. This is just one cluster daily. And those workflows are from 1 to 8 actions, and on average they have 4 actions. We also have an extreme use case we support where 100 to 200 workflow submission per minute. If you look at the coordinator, we have more than 2K coordinator running daily in one cluster. Those frequencies are 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, hourly, daily, weekly, monthly, and 25% are of 5 minutes. The 99% of workflow executed in the cluster are submitted from the coordinator. We have around 97 bundles running daily. Now let's go to the pipeline. Let's look at the pipeline team which uses Oozie. In advertisement category, ad exchange uses Oozie. Ad latency, search, advertisement, they use Oozie. In content category, for content management, content optimization, content personalization, and Flickr video, they use Oozie for processing. In targeting category, they use for audience targeting, behavioral targeting, partner targeting, retargeting, and web targeting. In email, they use it for anti-spam detection, content, and retargeting. In data intelligence, they use it for research, dashboard and report, and for forecasting. In data management, they use it for audience pipeline processing. To give an example how pipeline can be processed in Oozie, we have taken a very simple example. It get a 5 minute, 15 minute, and hourly feeds. Those feeds are click and view impression. The core processing done in the core bundle. The all rectangle boxes are the bundle in Oozie. The core processing done as a core bundle, which produce 5-minute output and hourly output. The hourly output goes to the AWD bundle, which produce reporting metrics, which is consumed by the other system. And again, the output goes to Revon bundle, which produce monitoring details, which is feed to other monitoring system. The output of core bundle, 5-minute output, goes to invoice bundle, which is used to generate invoice and billing information. There is also an archival bundle which runs daily and archives all input into the HDFS. And this is very useful when you want to rerun. You can use those archive files to rerun. There is also MDQ bundle. What it does is that it pulls the data from MySQL and dump it to HDFS so that core bundle can use it. The MySQL contains information about partner details, which can be used by core bundle to process. Let's look at some of the requirement for the data pipeline. First is the administrative. One should be able to start, stop, pause the whole pipeline or a part of it. If you look at the dependency management, it should be able to support BCP. Sometimes the data is not guaranteed, so it should be able to support partial execution. We might have a case where you want to support mandatory and optional feeds. And for the multiple provider, I can have a multiple provider. I should be able to assign priority among the providers. Sometimes some provider is missing some data and it's available in other provider. I should be able to combine them together. For SLA, I should be able to assign my SLA attributes, and system should be able to notify me if there is a SLA miss. Now let's see how can we solve those using Oozie. For the administrative purpose, we can use bundle. Bundle can combine multiple coordinators together. Those are loosely coupled. The only way they are dependent is the way they produce output and then consume input. Bundle can be used to start, stop, suspend, resume the whole pipeline or a part of it. In Oozie 1976, we added support of complex dependency. With this, there was no change to existing coordinator. What we can do is that we can add an input logic to enable complex dependency. Input logic is an XML tag which we can add it to coordinator XML. It consists of AND, OR, a combined operator. AND and OR are nested operator, and we'll look into some more examples. Let's see how can we use that to solve a BCP requirement. Suppose I have a data in primary colo and in secondary colo. Even if data is not available in primary colo, I should be able to go ahead with the secondary colo. And that can be done using the OR operator. This input logic can be added to coordinator XML, and then it says that start processing even if my data A or B is available, where A can be a primary and B can be a secondary colo. Data is not always guaranteed. Sometimes I might have some data are missing. We can use mean for that. Mean specifies the number of input inserts needed for the from the data set for the action to start. In that case, it can start running if I have data available for A is more than 4. I can also have a support of optional and mandatory field. So I have some field which is required for processing, and something is like optional. Even if it's not able, that should be okay. So I should be able to start processing as soon as my mandatory fields are available and whatever is available in the optional fields. So in that case, you can use AND operator. What it says is that A, B with 0 means that, okay, whatever is available B, I should be able to start with. In case of multiple provider, I should be able to assign a priority among the providers. So here data set A, B, and C are from different provider. For input logic, the ordering is a priority. Here A has more priority over B and B has more priority over C. Oozie is going to look on A first, and if A is not available, it's going to look into B, and then C only if A and B is not available. Sometimes cross-color processing can cause performance issue because you need to copy data from different colo to this colo. And so you want to wait for some time before switching to secondary colo. You can use wait. Wait indicate here if all of the data available from A, then it's going to return you true, or it elapsed 120 minutes for this example. So what this indicates saying that switch to B only if A is not available and after waiting for 120 minutes. So we have taken fairly simple example. You can always form a nested operation using AND and OR. Sometimes I have a multiple provider. Some provider has some data set, but other doesn't have it. I should be able to combine them together and form a combined data set. In this case, I have a data set A which ranges from -1 to -5 and B -1 to -5. If you use combine, then what it's going to do is that it's going to look into A, and whatever is missing, it's going to look into the B. So A has more priority. The first data set which Oozie is going to look into is A. So whatever is missing only will go and look into B. In the same way, we can have C, D, E. So those were something we did recently for the complex dependency management. Now look at the SLA and monitoring. There were two ways to do monitoring in Oozie. One is that you can configure job to receive a notification. You can do email notification, HTTP notification for job status change, or we can do email or JMS notification for SLMS. Other way to do is through the pooling. You can pool for single job status, bulk pooling you can do, or you can also do SLA monitoring. Let's look into detail. You can add an email action to a workflow, and if it gets executed, it will notify, it will send an email action. It will send an email. One can also enable a job status change in Oozie. Notification URL, if those parameters are added to the job property, Oozie will send a notification if the job status gets changed. Oozie also support a proxy. If the notification proxy is set, it's going to send a HTTP notification by the proxy. Currently, we support HTTP proxy and SOX proxy. This job status notification can be done for coordinator jobs as well as for the workflow. We can also do pooling. There is two ways to do it. One is a single job pooling, and there is a bulk. Bulk has multiple operators, like you can pull it by bundle name, bundle ID, username, start created time, end created time. You can pull up set of jobs within that start time and end time. You can also pull it based on the job status, saying that I only want job which is running or which has failed. Now look at the SLA thing. Oozie can be configured to track SLA for start time, end time, and duration. I'm not going in detail of SLA. And those information can be accessed by the web console or through the REST API or through the JMS message or even email alert. This is a dashboard from the UI, Oozie UI, where it displays the nominal time, it displays the expected time, and it displays the actual time, and also other information. This is a graphical view where x-axis is the nominal time, y-axis is the time taken to complete the action, and it plots expected time and the actual time. There is also a statistics where it says percentage of job has missed the SLA and the percentage of jobs which has achieved the SLA. It's done for both start and end. There are some limitations on Oozie for the monitoring, and we'll see what are they. It doesn't have a user view. Suppose user X logged into Oozie UI, it doesn't display only information related to that user. It displays all those information. Oozie doesn't have a BCP SLA support. Suppose I'm running my job in class Colo A and Colo B, and Colo A failed but Colo B succeeded. What I'll do is that I'll copy the output from Colo B to Colo A, which means that it succeeded in Colo A because it has the output. But in that case, Oozie is still going to show it as a failed. So it doesn't support that. There is no color coding. It doesn't say what is failed, what is succeeded by indicating a color. There is no support for paging on call. If something has failed, it can't be paged. It doesn't support threshold. Say suppose I want to only get notified if X number of consecutive failures are there, not only just one. There is no also option to send a consolidated email. Like I want to get a daily mail with number of failures, and there Oozie runs on multiple grid. There is no one UI where we can show all the jobs for all the grid. We'll see some of the live examples in Yahoo itself and how user has built their own system to solve those. We'll take case one, which is very simple, fairly simple. They have enabled SLA monitoring, but they ignore SLA notifications sent by Oozie. What they have done is that they have a cron job which periodically pulls SLA information from Oozie. And if there is an SLA miss, they notify a different in-house reporting, in-house monitoring system, which has more capability, like sending mobile alert to on-call person, sending email thresholds, and it has more, a lot more capability. And this is how it looks like. Sorry, I need to blur this because this is taken from actual production. So green indicate that they are meeting SLA, and red indicate that they are not missing SLA. Now let's look into case 2. This is a fairly complex one. Their whole system is divided into 4 parts: SLA, error jobs, long running jobs, and running jobs. The SLA information, the first part is shown by SLA information. They display the feed name, they display the frequency of the job, and then by what the SLA has been missed. And they also display till what time data is available, till what nominal time data is available. And if there is a backlog, it says this display. This is taken from real production. That's why I need to blur it out. If you click one of the job here, it gives you the chart of the SLA. The x-axis is the hours and y is like time taken to complete. This is not pulled from Oozie. This is done by this is computed on SDFS. The feed part has a nominal time. What they do is that they compute at when the feed was created minus the nominal time of the feed part, and this is how they compute the SLA. This takes care of copying file from colo B to colo A here, where we missed the colo A SLA. They also have built up a UI to display long waiting jobs, and according to them, a job is waiting for more than 12 hours considered to be long waiting jobs. And if you click one of them, it directly goes to the different page with it displays the missing dependencies. And this is very useful when you want to figure it out why the job is waiting. There is also a page where they display error jobs, and then they can do whatever you want to do with that. There is also a different section which display all the running jobs and detail of that. And once you click, it goes back to the all actions. This is one of the cool tools they have added. If you look the first row, it says grid user. So if you can provide a grid user and the colo, it pulls all the job information that particular user from that colo. This solves the purpose where we don't support multi-grid view. It can also search by job ID. In Oozie, at Yahoo, job ID has the cluster name. So if you just give the job ID, they pull the cluster name from there, and then pulls a detail of particular job from that cluster and shows here. One of the cool features they have added is the feed. So given a feed name and the frequency, and then pull out all the coordinator detail, which is supposed to produce that feed. This is a very cool thing, and this is useful. If something has wrong happened, they'll say, okay, this feed is wrong. Then they can use this to figure out which coordinator has produced this. You can also search job by the job name. Job name doesn't have colon name, so you have to provide a colon name there. So this is an example of Feed Explorer we saw earlier. Different pipeline has a different validation requirement. And most of the pipeline, they run their own validation job to validate input and output. One simple way to do is that validate the number of click impression with the billing details. Should not be billing more to the customer. This is what they do periodically. This is one of the example where they send a consolidated email. You can send it daily, hourly, or weekly. Now one of the biggest requirement of any pipeline is to reprocess the whole dependent DAG. Currently, Oozie doesn't have any support for data dependency. It makes very difficult for the whole pipe to rerun from a nominal time. To solve this limitation, they have built their own job dependency DAG, and it's very similar to the Job Explorer feed lookup. Job Explorer feed lookups figure out the coordinator which is supposed to produce the output, but this looks up the coordinator which is supposed to consume those input. Currently, there is no UI to this, but what they do is that they parse job daily and then store that dependency in the text file. There are two ways to rerun the whole pipeline. One is that just rerun the failed actions. It's easy to do. We don't have to do much work, but it's very difficult to monitor. The other option is to create a new coordinator for that timeline and then run it. And this makes easy for monitoring. This is one of the example where they build up a script where they get a coordinator name, start time and end times, and create a new coordinator and start it running. They also have a nice UI which displays the rerunning status that says the percentage completed and also ETA to complete. They have also built a very nice consolidated SLA monitoring dashboard, and this is very useful in the case if so here red indicate that they are missing SLA, blue indicate that it's a long running job, and white indicate that they are meeting SLA. If you see, so this is useful in one way is that if you see lot of red dots, that sometimes indicate that everything is fine, but then something wrong with the cluster. The cluster is running slow, and then we can interpret in many ways actually. Now let's look at some of the future work which we're gonna do. Currently, there is no unit testing framework for Woozy. Currently, people directly deploy to their staging cluster. So we are working on that, and maybe it will be available in next release. As we discussed, there is no coordinator dependency management, and we might do it. And there is no aperiodic or increment processing support in Woozy, and we also have planned to do it. We are also hosting Woozy meetup at the Ballroom B tomorrow, along with Cloud and Operation. You can plan to attend it. Thank you, and that was quick. Yes.
Okay. So all these, so if I want to see a list of jobs which are running, kill, blah blah blah, which you showed using that command, can I also issue it using the Woozy web console?
Yeah, you can. No, not through, but you can also use REST APIs.
Correct, but I can't do it. If I want my operations guys to do it, okay, rather than giving them access to REST or rather than giving them access to command line, I just want them to use the Woozy web console. So
No,
I can't do that.
Woozy Web Console doesn't have those support. You can navigate through pages, but no, you can't specify end time and start time.
Okay. Usually, Hue is not a part of Hotworks, right? So Hue comes as Cloudera.
Right.
Okay? So we can define Woozy workflow using Hue, okay, which is pretty cool. It's not complete, it's pretty cool. Okay. So what options do we have for Hotworks? Because I know that we can define a complex Woozy workflow using an Eclipse plugin given by Machine, right? That is one of the things. So can you tell us what to do?
Yeah, I'm not sure if Ambari does that. Yeah. Yeah, I'm not sure if Ambari does that or not. I remember somebody's created an open source community. Somebody's created an Eclipse tool for creating a workflow. I'm not sure how good is that, if you can create a complex workflow or not. But yeah, I'm not sure if Hortonworks has a tool or not. But at Yahoo, we use people use Hue, so I'm very sure that in Hue you can do it, but not sure if Hortonworks. Yes.
Has your team evaluated Falcon at all? Is there a reason they haven't?
No, I think both has a different use case. And the Falcon has a different use case and Woozy has a different use case. I know that Falcon use Woozy to do their processing. So I'm not sure if I understand it.
Maybe we can talk after.
Yeah. Yes?
Just to that point, Yahoo has looked at Falcon and is using Falcon on a limited basis internally to do regular daily or regular data transfer
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.